Welcome back to the Knowledge of the Fourth Cycle. This is a 5-part video series designed to awaken the dormant faculties of the mind. This is part 4, Acquiring First-Hand Knowledge. What is God? Is there any such being in reality? What is the power that gives life to the universe and makes it carry on according to a plan? Is that power conscious or inert? If it is inert, how then are the sun, the moon, and the stars all revolving according to law? How are we related to that power? Whence did this universe originate, when did it come into being, and how did such a thing happen? Such questions always face every individual. Book after book has been written on the subject. Many men have had their day here and have passed away. Many are still pondering over these questions, but they remain ever fresh. The discussion about God is still where it was in the beginning. The mind of man is capable of great flights of imagination, but the doubt is always there. The subject of God is not comprehended, and man continues to wander in the dense forest of his intellect. There are theists and atheists. According to the latter, the existence of God is a mere fabrication of the timid. It is just a device to hide their cowardice, and a prop to lean on. Because God is not visible either with telescopes or microscopes, atheists say that he can have no existence. God cannot be known by reasoning, the reading of books, or philosophical discussions. Through them, we can get an idea of his reality, and the existence of his power. But to realize him as a fact, we will need to enter the laboratory of the self, and experience him for ourselves. For world progress, our duty consists of performing the actions within the bounds of society's laws, and sustaining each other, so that society may continue. The rules of society include bodily, family, social, national, and political rules. Similarly, the path of spiritual progress has its laws. The aim of a seeker after spirituality should be the union of the body with the soul. Unless there is some definite object or aim, it is useless to hope to achieve it. When this aim or object is certain, then every effort brings him nearer to it. The condition of a common man is like that of a drifting man, who floats in any direction the current takes him. We are floating in the river of traditions of this world. We follow the traditions. We do as our ancestors have done. We waste time on superstitions connected with the body. We think of the wants of the body, we never think of the soul or its plight. It is necessary to give up false beliefs, adopt the attitude of right beliefs, and follow the right principles, in order to understand the reality. If you do not understand it, then inquire about it, so that you may clearly see the place where you are to cross, and there may be no obstruction in treading the right path. Those who choose a path to God, simply because that path is traveled by others, run the risk of uniting into some form of superstition. Their progress is stopped, and they do not get to real spirituality. There are no special gifts given to any. All may know for themselves the truth concerning the pilgrimage of the soul, the past evolution, and the future destiny of the world, without being compelled to depend upon another. There are methods whereby man may develop within himself the faculties necessary to acquire knowledge from the inner plane of nature's consciousness. Methods by which, if persistently followed, the powers of a God may be developed. The soul has several instruments: a dense body, a vital body, a desire body, and a mind. These are its tools, and upon their quality and condition depends how much or how little it can accomplish in its work of gathering experience in each life. If the instruments are poor and dull, there will be little spiritual growth, and life will be an agony of unfulfillment, so far as the soul is concerned. The soul is here to acquire experience, through its instruments. These are the tools furnished to each at birth, and they are good, bad, or indifferent, according to what we have learned through past experience, in the building of them. Such as they are, we must work with them, if at all. If we have become aroused from the usual lethargy and are anxious to progress, the question naturally arises, what must I do? Without well-kept tools the mechanic can do no effective work. Similarly, the instruments of the soul must be cleansed and sharpened, then we may commence to work to some purpose. As one works with those wonderful tools, they themselves improve, with proper use, and become more and more efficient to aid in the work. The object of this work is union with the higher self. There are many means, some slow, by which the different bodies of man may be purified, but the aspirant to the higher knowledge works consciously to attain to these ends, by well-defined methods, according to his constitution. In India, certain methods under different systems of yoga are used. Yoga means union, and, as in the East, the object is union with the higher self, but the methods of seeking that union must differ. The physical bodies of the East are very differently constituted from those of the West. The East have lived for many, many thousands of years in an environment and climate totally different from ours. They have pursued a different method of thought, and their civilization, though of a very high order, is different from ours in its effects. Therefore, it would be useless for us to adopt their methods, which are the outcome of the highest occult knowledge and perfectly suited to them, but as unsuitable for the people of the West, as a diet of oats would be for a lion. Meditation, properly speaking, is the stilling of the mind. Most of the meditation techniques taught today still the mind using one of two basic approaches. The first is silent sitting, facing a blank wall, until the mind becomes blank. You sit until the moment of pure awareness arrives, even if it takes 20 years. The second is the mantra approach, in which the mind is rhythmically lulled to sleep with sounds or images. After thousands of repetitions, the body begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, and the mediator becomes aware of the higher energies operating beyond his mind. The system presented here stresses the circulation of energy, called qi or primal energy, along certain pathways inside the body. These pathways help direct the qi, also known as prana, sperm or ovarian power, the warm current, universal life energy or kundalini power, to successively higher power centers, chakras, of the body. The secret of circulating this primal energy has been transmitted for thousands of years, given only to students from their teacher, from lips to ears, where it brought extraordinary improvements in health, life and consciousness. But what is this primal energy, and where does it come from? The qi is the primordial life force itself, also known as universal life energy. It begins in human life with the piercing of an egg by a sperm cell. From this original fusion, an enormously complex new human being develops. Qi is the continuous flow of energy, consciousness and energy, linking the various tissues, organs, and brain functions into a unified whole. Qi, universal life energy, also links each person to his environment. The main channels of qi energy flow, in the body, were discovered by sages meditating upon the human fetus, inside the womb. They observed that the baby grows up around its mother's navel point, and that through the navel, the fetus absorbs nutrients and expels waste. The fetus literally breathes through the umbilical cord, from the mother into its own navel, down to the perineum, and up to the head, and down from the tongue, to the navel again. The navel point is thus said to be the starting point for the flow of the primordial life energy, or qi, and remains the point of strongest energy storage and circulation in the adult. Awakening primal healing energy is a method for an adult to return to that state of dynamic energy circulation, which existed inside the womb. In this sense, this esoteric meditation is a rebirth process, a return to one's original, primordial self. What happened after birth that caused us to lose that original perfect equilibrium, that was so nurturing, and permitted such healthy growth? After a baby enters the world, his or her energy slowly settles out, into hot and cold parts of the body. In the fetus this yin and yang energy was perfectly balanced, in a kind of lukewarm mixture. But, by the time a baby has grown to adulthood, the hot, or yang energy has gradually risen to the upper part of the body, containing the vital organs such as the heart, liver, lungs, and brain. The cold, or yin energy, has tended to settle in the legs, genitals, kidneys, and lower abdomen. As we age, the energy routes, which bring vital power to our internal organs, and enable them to function, become progressively more blocked, by physical and mental tension. The result is general fatigue, weakness, and poor health. A young person usually has sufficient energy to keep the route less obstructed, so that the power still flows. The organs are thus nourished, and there is little sickness. But, if we do not live healthy, and practice to keep the energy routes open, they will gradually close, and cause emotional imbalances, premature sickness, and old age. The perfect energy circulation we enjoyed as babies had not become impaired by the daily stress of living. Simply, by re-establishing that same strong flow of lukewarm qi, mixed yin and yang energy, our vital organs will begin to glow, with radiant health. When this healing power of the life energy in its original, pure, undivided form, flows through our bodies, we regain the exuberant energy and rosy glow we once had as babies. The nervous system, in human beings, is very complex, and can direct energy wherever it is needed. But the ancient masters discovered there are two primary energy channels that carry an especially strong current. One channel they call the functional. It begins at the base of the trunk, midway between the testicles and the anus, at a point called the perineum. It flows upward, into the body, past the penis, stomach, organs, heart, and throat. The second channel, called the governor, starts in the same place. It flows from the perineum, upwards into the tailbone, and then, up through the spine, into the brain, and back down to the roof of the mouth. The tongue is like a switch that connects these two currents, for when it is touched to the roof of the mouth just behind the front teeth, the energy flows, in a circle up the spine, and back down the front of the body. The two channels form a single circuit, and the energy loops around in circles. When this energy flows in a loop around the body through these two channels, the masters said, the small heavenly cycle, or microcosmic orbit had been completed. Its vital current circulates past the major organs and nervous system of the body, giving cells the juice they need to grow, heal, and function. The two main energy channels of the body can be compared to the main wiring of a house. Imagine a trunk line that brings power from outside into the building service panel. This panel contains the circuit breakers that protect the inside wiring from short circuits and overloads. It also has switches that control the current to all the rooms inside the house. This inside wiring is like the 6 special power routes in the body, used in higher levels of meditation, that branch off from the microcosmic orbit. In higher levels, there are additional wires for especially heavy loads of energy that might surge into the system. The thrusting route in the middle of the body is one such wire. Opening the routes means clearing all obstructions that impede the flow of primal energy in its natural path. Most obstructions take the form of physical, mental, or emotional tension. It helps to understand that these energy routes in the body are grounded in the larger balancing forces of nature, which are exerting powerful influence over us at every moment. The healing power of natural forces can be tapped to help the body in clearing itself of the obstruction to its natural energy flow. The route running down the front of the body, it may flow in an upward direction before the microcosmic orbit is linked together. The functional channel has a yin or cold nature. The route running up the back, the governor channel, is yang or hot in nature. The feet are said to be the ground or the earth wire and absorb negatively charged energy from the earth. The top of the head, or crown, is the heavenly wire, or positive wire, and absorbs the yang power from above, especially the sun. When these two routes are joined and cleared of obstruction, the power will flow in a circuit between these two poles, positive and negative, linking the vital organs of the body to the main loop of the microcosmic orbit, around the trunk and head of the body. So, by simply opening the two main routes, functional and governor, a larger supply of warm qi current flows into every bodily organ. The process of mixing yin and yang, hot and cold, heaven and earth, takes place automatically, balancing your physical, mental and emotional selves. Some meditation methods have the practitioner start by receiving power from above immediately. Only a few people, those born with the proper channels already open and ready to use, and who have done nothing to cause them to be blocked, are capable of doing this immediately. Many people, including well-known yogis, have damaged their organs with excessive heat, or have released uncontrollable hallucinations by progressing before their bodies were prepared to handle high doses of raw energy. How to sit. Sit on the edge of a chair, using your sitting bones, to find that delicate place of balance which will help hold you erect. Men should allow the scrotum to hang freely in the air. When the testes are freely suspended, it is easier to draw in energy, and awaken the sleeping giant within. The sitting position for women is the same except that if women sit in the nude, or are scantily clad, they should cover the genitalia, to avoid energy loss. The back must be comfortably erect, the head bowed slightly forward, the feet firmly planted on the floor. The feet are the ground wire, and have 10 channels of energy flow in each leg. To keep the energy flow fully in each leg, keep your legs in touch with the ground. Sitting on a chair is the most comfortable way to practice the qi flow to the whole body. The feet are the root of our body, so keep the energy flow to them and the hands resting on the lap, with the right palm on top, clasping the left palm. This will complete the hand circle, and the energy will not leak out of the palm. The back should be quite straight, at the waist though slightly bowed at the shoulders and neck. This minor forward curve of the upper back promotes perfect relaxation of the chest, and allows the power to flow downward. In military posture, with the shoulders thrown back, and the head held high, the power will lodge in the chest, and fail to descend to the lower centers. How to breathe. While concentrating, the breath should be soft, long, and smooth. After a while you can forget about your breath. Attention to breath will only distract the mind, which must focus on drawing energy to the desired points. There are thousands of esoteric breathing methods, you might spend your whole life mastering them, and acquire no lasting energy. To relax, practice taking long, slow, deep breaths in the abdomen, not the chest. Position of the tongue. The tongue is the bridge between the two channels, the functional and the governor. They are separated by the tongue. There are 3 positions for the tongue. For the beginner, place the tongue where it is most comfortable. If it is uncomfortable to place the tongue to the palate, place it near the teeth. The correct place is called the heavenly pool. A. First position. The place near the teeth will produce air, wind, and will make it easy for you to fall asleep. B. Second position. The top of the palate, before the soft palate, is the fireplace. If touched for too long, it will make the mouth and tongue feel dry. C. Third position. This is the heavenly pool position, about 1 1/2 inches in front of the teeth, stimulating the salivary gland that is under the tongue. The heavenly pool has 2 pools, which connect with the perineum sperm palace, and the kidneys, the soul, bubbling spring. It connects with the kidneys, and runs up past the heart, so these 2 pools will stimulate the kidneys and sperm energy to rise up past the heart, and enter the small brain, and the pituitary gland, which transforms it into brain energy. This will later on become nectar, and strengthen the heart energy. There are 24 hours in each day, and if we are to make spiritual progress, we should devote 1 1/2 hour each day to meditation. This is our tithe of 10% of our time. Withdrawn from the world, and devote time to realizing the Lord God of truth within, your infinite I. The techniques of meditation, as taught by the Masters, provide a practical way to draw our attention inside, and to use this daily period for our true work. Whenever we wish to draw our consciousness inwards, the thoughts of the world invade us. These are the impressions that have continually entered through the sense organs. Thus, the affairs of household, office, shops, and other places, including the forms of relatives, friends, and foes that we have been seeing, project themselves on the mind screen, and obstruct concentration. The first step for spiritual uplift, therefore, is to eliminate these impressions. The removal of the impressions that are formed in our subconscious mind, and which come before us involuntarily, is the second step. It is only after one has ascended the 2 steps, that he can become introverted, or turned inwardly. Time. All times are good for meditation, and one should utilize whatever time suits him. But the morning time, just before daybreak, and evening time, immediately after sunset are particularly beneficial, because these times unite night and day, and spiritual currents are particularly strong and powerful at such a time. During the day, we are engaged in the affairs of the world. Therefore, only night remains for devotion to God. No spiritual practice should be undertaken immediately after a heavy meal, or on a full stomach, because then the body energies are engaged in the digestive process. It is better to meditate on an empty stomach. In the early morning hours, the stomach is empty, as the food taken the evening before is normally digested completely by that time. From the following illustrations, it is seen that it takes approximately about 14 hours before breakfast food taken into the body can be fully digested. Food taken at 8 a.m. will not be completely digested until about 10 p.m. This is approximately about 14 hours, that, without any complications of obstruction by constipation, so be mindful not to overstuff your body, for it will impede the flow of universal life energy and impair the healing process. The time of elixir begins from 3 in the morning until about 6. The body and mind are refreshed, and calm, and fit for meditation. In the early morning hours, there are usually no worries of the world to occupy our minds, and such a time is therefore better for concentration. At the time of elixir, the mind is quite fresh, and the day's turmoils have not spread their tentacles over it. In the early morning hours, a person is very near to God. Concentration attained, and meditation done at this time, leave their impression on the day's work. And whatever such a person does, he does with a concentrated mind. The fruit of meditation done in the first part of the night is just like the budding of the trees, but meditation during the latter part of the night is like the tree bearing the ripe fruit. At this time, one gets the grace of the cosmic forces. Posture. Posture signifies sitting in a particular position, and maintaining it firmly for a certain length of time. Hatha Yoga describes numerous postures, and of these, 84 are well known. The practice of these postures confers many advantages, because they are an aid to concentration. They help to eliminate all bodily ailments and weaknesses. However, yogis have performed all 84 postures, without gaining the ultimate goal. They do not rid the mind of erotic or vicious thoughts. They are primarily for the benefit of the physical body, and do not lead to God realization. Obviously, if a medicine does not cure the ailment, it is useless. These postures require sustained effort without much profit. It is essential to be alert before starting the spiritual practice. Take a bath to get over sloth and drowsiness. If for some reason this is not possible, at least wash the hands, feet, and face. It is essential that the spinal column remains erect. When doing the practice, sit on a firm surface. Do not support your back against a wall or a chair. Above all, be careful not to fall asleep. Thank you for watching and viewing part 4 of this 5-part video series, The Knowledge from the Fourth Cycle. Acquiring first-hand knowledge.